What's up, you cave dwellers? While you're out there probably betting third quarter props of random preseason games, more power to you if you can pull those off. I'm sitting here thinking about some season longs, and today I'm going to continue with my favorite win totals. Last time I did the AFC, this time I'm going to give you some NFC, my favorite 3 win totals from the NFC. But before I do that, I'm just going to remind you, if you have multiple personality syndrome, you should probably get that checked out, but you should take your first personality over to BetMGM, and your first bet is risk-free up to $1,000. It sounds very nice if you ask me, and here are some bets that you can use, whether you want to use it on a risk-free one or not. So first, I'm starting with my favorite pick, and that's going to be the over. This is a pretty high number, over 10.5 wins for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, at least remember, like I said last time, it's only a couple years into that extra game, so this is not the old 11-5 gets you there. 11-6 gets you there. At least it seems a little bit easier. But the reason I'm going to go with the Rams, in my experiences, in my learned experiences, the team after a Super Bowl, they always seem to have great regular seasons. Now, it's a little different when you look at teams like the Eagles, who went on the random Nick Foles run and then they had to split quarterbacks. Wentz was hurt, and I'm not talking about weird situations, but you look at a team like the Chiefs. They, I believe, had 2 losses after their Super Bowl. I remember when the Packers won the Super Bowl 15-1, when the Giants won the Super Bowl 14-2, and then they come back to reality the following year, which, you know, you kind of saw with the Chiefs last year, second year after a Super Bowl. But that year after a Super Bowl, there's just a confidence that the team plays with where everything seems to go right. They're clicking. And I always love teams, especially ones that are mostly healthy, returning most of the same players. And that's exactly what the Rams are doing, if not upgrading it. Because let's be honest, Allen Robinson, 1 year ago, we're saying Allen Robinson's an absolute freak. And then when you know about the rapport that Stafford and Kupp have with each other, adding him to that bunch, and now you're going to have Akers mostly healthy, I think they're hitting over 10.5 wins coming off that Super Bowl. Absolutely, that is going to be my favorite over-under on the win totals. Secondly, I'm going to go to another high win total, but this time I'm taking the opposite side. I'm going with the under 11.5. Crazy high number for those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I already mentioned it in my Super Bowl video. Something seems weird about the Bucs this year. The analogy I used, it's like, you know, they forced a divorced couple, like as they were proceeding with the paperwork, to then just get back together. There's a lot of red flags up in there. It seems like Brady was done with that place after last year. Gronkowski looks like he's going to stay retired. The offensive line all of a sudden is having the issues. Godwin's not going to be at full strength. Who knows? Because they always say 2 years for a torn ACL to get back to full strength. So you won't have Godwin till halfway through the year. Julio Jones, if he remembers a book that he read when he was younger, he pulls his hamstring, so I don't trust him really adding that much to the offense outside of a couple red zone plays every game. But I guess the biggest factor in there is that offensive line. You know, you take Brady and you saw what a diminished offensive line looked like against the Rams in the playoffs. Now, I know that's the Rams and that line. I'm just saying 11.5 wins is a lot. 11 wins gets you there. And I see that lackluster year. I just told you, the year after a Super Bowl, always a great one. You can add Tampa Bay to that list. They would have hit the over last year, the year after the Super Bowl, but that second year after, in my opinion, always seems to trend downward. That's where I think we're headed with Tampa Bay. So give me the under 11.5 wins for Tampa. And lastly, I mean, this one's destined to ruin me. This is everything about this franchise, the guy I'm about to side with, spells, oh, this is getting ruined. However, this is a philosophy you're going to see a lot. Ask the unluckiest person you know which side they like in a bet, and then just take the opposite. And I know it's kind of cliche to say, well, fade the public, but it's even more than that. Every unlucky person who ever lived, you know, is going to be betting the under on Washington, which I believe it's 7.5 or 8, but I saw it today at 7.5 on one of the major sports books. Give me the over 7.5. because every sad sack is going to be on Carson Wentz to ruin everything. And look, there's no doubt about it, ever since his MVP year, there have been a lot of issues. Very erratic, tons of interceptions, a lot of injuries. It's been up and down. However, with that said, despite all those close losses last year, and then he left a bad taste in everyone's mouth with that Jacksonville performance, but his season was not that bad. Go look at his performance against the 49ers on Christmas week. People were calling him a hero. This is we forget how quickly the narrative changes, and then there were a ton of close games they lost in the last second. I think he's getting them to over 7.5 wins. And when you look at that division, the Cowboys got a little worse. You got the Giants. How many wins do you see them getting? And then the Eagles with their great offensive line. But we'll see. The book is still out on Jalen Hurts, as they say. I think there are a lot of winnable games for Washington, no expectations. And I'm taking the over 7.5 for them. So I got the over 10.5 on the Rams, the under 11.5 for the Bucs, and then the over 7.5 for the Washington. I keep thinking it's the Generals, Commanders. I still like the football team, but the football team that currently plays in Washington. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me again. Do me a favor, or as I like to call it, the Jack Klompus personal favor. Toss a click on this video, give it a like, and subscribe to Odd Shopper channel. This is where I'll be throughout the course of the year, giving you my bets. And I'll be happy to have you along the way. And one thing I'll always promise you about myself, if I'm not giving you picks that are hitting, as the pick quality goes down, the entertainment value will go up. So you'll always get a little something with me, but hopefully it's mostly winners. All right, I'll see you next time. I'll talk to you soon.